Introverted, extroverted, introverts versus extroverts. We really shouldn't be looking at the two in terms of one being better than the other, or one being good, one being less good. Hi folks, it's your off-grid homesteader coming to you from Canada, and today I want to talk to you about introverts and extroverts. A long time ago, psychologists believed that 70% of the population is made up of extroverts and 30% of the population is made up of introverts. And so I believe that basically I was too young to question the authority on any subject, thinking that, well, they knew, they'd done their homework. That's why they're the authority in a particular subject. So, by the way, I'm coming to you from my throne in my gathering place. This isn't obviously bolted together or glued or anything. I just my way of trying to put things to some sort of an order in this space, so I could make some videos here for you while it's still nice outside, because the structure is not sealed, airtight, and really made for warmer months to do gatherings, yoga, meditation, making crafts, whatever. Isn't it cool? Anyway, going back to what I was talking about, I think we covered ADHD the other day, so that's about jumping to different topics. But this I think warranted me mentioning it. This big chunk of anyway, and so as I got older, I got to live a bit longer and get to know people a bit more. I believed that theorem, whatever, less and less, that 70% of the population was made up of extroverts and 30% made up of introverts. And by the way, it's a spectrum now, I believe, but I'll come to that. But to a point that I thought, do you know what? Not only that number is not 70-30, and not only that number is not 50-50, I wanted to do my PhD and prove that that number was 70-30 in, I don't want to say in favor of, 70-30 being 70% introverts and 30% extroverts. Allow me to explain. How many of you, and somehow I have a feeling that most people that come and watch my videos on this channel are, I may be wrong, I'm generalizing, I know, but and let me know, this, I really want to know this, write it down in the comment. I wonder if I'm right in this. My theorem is that most people that come to watch these videos, my videos, are actually more on the, now like I said, I believe there's a spectrum of more being introverted than extroverted. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? Write it down. And so, but why do I think that? And I thought, this is the thing. As growing up as an introvert, and at the time I subscribed to being a middle of the road, sort of a full-on introvert. So as an introvert, I thought, all right, I have to, in order to protect myself, both physically and to not get bullied, and also somehow fit in, I had to pretend to be either less of an introvert or not an introvert at all. Now, how many of you have done that in your lives, but especially as you got older? Now, I don't know what it's like right now with the woke and the people trying to be politically correct and including everyone, and that was not the case for me when I was growing up and as a young adult. You pretty much, if you weren't an extrovert, you just didn't climb that ladder. You didn't get promotions. You got passed down on. You just stayed where you were. You weren't considered to be a team player. You weren't. You were cast. You were considered weird. I mean, obviously, not obviously, but obviously to you now that you've seen some of my videos. In addition to that, I was, like I'm over it now, painfully shy and socially inept and all of those things. And so when you add all of that together, and if some of you also have these sort of character traits, it's not hard to believe that we, the population, the 70% that I was proposing, would put on this mask, hiding the fact that they're introverted so that they could survive or move on up or get that promotion or something. So the more people that I talked to, the more people that I sort of interviewed, not I didn't go into proceed with doing my PhD, but just talk to people, sort of not on a research level, like a academic level, but just for my own self, to finding out. And the more I noticed that more and more people I met were deep down introverts. And now maybe this is a good time to go into that spectrum. I personally now, at this stage of my life, I don't know, earlier probably would not have said that. Maybe because I'm a little bit more comfortable in my skin, not a lot. I'm still painfully shy. I still can't make eye contact with folks in town. And even with this inanimate object, I'm having a difficult time looking at the camera. But I would now, at this age, I would put myself on the scale of the introverted extroverted scale. I would put myself, I would call myself an extroverted introvert. So I'm an introvert first, but I'm closer to the middle of the scale of introverted. Now here in the country, I have only met or known, now that there's 74 of us, I would say 2, maybe 3 people that are extroverts of the 72. I don't know if you want me to say that again. Put it to you a little differently. If anyone who leaves the city, say 15 minutes outside of the city and farther, would have to be an introvert to some level. For you not to be able to see a ton of people all the time, for you not to be able to have access to all the things that the city offers, like the cinemas and the theater and the bars and the clubs and the loud pounding music, or just population moving down the street, like herds of people. I don't know how else to put it. I'm not trying to be offensive. I don't know how else to explain it. I'm not I'm not very articulate, if you've not noticed by now. And so for you not to miss any of that, or say, oh, thank God there's no one around. For me, I still say, thank God. I'm far more comfortable being surrounded by trees. I don't know if you can see, by trees and the wildlife and the plants and the flowers, the butterflies and the birds, than I am being in town. Recently, a few days ago, I was in town for a good 24 hours, and I was aching to get back home. I was so drained. And again, I put myself as closer to the middle of the introverted extrovert. So if this is all extrovert and this is all introverted, I'm here. So imagine how many people are there. And here in the rural, I know almost the three people that I mentioned, they're kids. They're kids. They're not even adults. So in other words, I can't think of a single adult here that is an extrovert. Not a single one. And so we all need our space. We all need our quiet time. We all need to wind down. We all need all of that. I think also, so remember if I said this is the middle, so there's all these extroverts here. I think extroverts also need some downtime. The farther they are from the middle, the less downtime they need, and the more of a center of the attention they need to be. But the closer they are here, it's almost like not a ton of difference between just over the border on this side and that side. And so it's not, just like folks that have ADD, ADHD, I covered that in another video, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, mild autism. We need these people. It's like a symbiotic thing. It's not introverts versus extroverts, more of a yin and yang kind of thing. Over a decade ago, 12, 13 years ago, when I lived in a different province, I started a group called London Philosophers and Freethinkers. Not on social media. I still don't have social media. It wasn't Facebook or anything like that. And there was 75 of us. Of the 75 people that loved the idea and wanted to be a part of it, and people in the city don't have the time or whatever to make it to the meeting. So there was maybe a minimum 5, maximum 10 of us at the very core of this group that showed up to every meeting that I would schedule, or if somebody else wanted to schedule. And it was we talked about all the things that introverts do. And we were just happy that, and we were just happy that someone had come up with a group that could include us in it. However minority we were, we could be ourselves. And by the way, if you don't know any introverts aren't necessarily quiet, or they can come across as snobbish because they're quiet, but because they don't need to be the center of attention. And when they are in their own setting, surroundings, with their own kind of people, they're quiet. They can be talkative. They can talk a lot. They can dance. They can be silly, or I don't know, loud. I don't know. Can I say loud? But anyway. But it's just that when they're in presence of even one extrovert, when you see an introvert just hunker down and hide under the table and say, when is this day going to be over? Oh, a little bit of a beautiful sun coming through. I hope that's not affecting the camera sitting in the sun and I'm not. Anyway, so we need each other, each trait or whatever character that we need each other. Now, when I started that group and people came, we loved being in each other's company, and different ages, different sexes, but yet we had this commonality that was we were all introverts. group grew, and then we all asked these same questions that we have all been asked our whole lives. You know the questions. If you're an introvert, you know. What's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of this? Why this? And how come that? And what? All the deep questions that you can imagine. We had all asked, and now we were in a group to ask, bring it out into a larger scale and share it with each other. And then I thought, you know what? About a year into it, I thought, you know what? I don't want that anymore. Because nobody knows the answer to any of these big questions. Oh, sure, the organized religions try to answer some of these questions. Some cults try to answer these questions. Some fringe, whatever, groups. But the thing is, nobody really knows with any degree of certainty. So I thought, and I went to my group and I said, folks, I'm out. As the founder, I'm out. It's just too depressing. I've lived in that deep, dark hole for my whole life. I don't want it anymore. And when I make that announcement, a lot of people almost hated me because they felt like a sense of abandonment, or how could someone who knows us so inside and out, who reached out and made us whole, sort of, gave us a big hug and brought us together, and now we're happy knowing that we can rely on each other for whatever, if there's had a bad day, whatever, we can contact a support group, and he's bailing. And so I was doing it at the same time, more or less. I was doing some soul searching. I don't know if it's soul searching. I was just contemplating, as we all do. And so I came back to them after being fronted by that sort of a backlash, and I said, "Look, I've been too unhappy and depressed for so long. Not a chronic depression where somebody doesn't want to get out of the bed, but my depression is and was more like a daily one. Every morning is a brand new day. That's why my website's called A New Day. Because I see every morning as a brand new day with its own possibilities and no limits or whatever. By midday, I'm a little less enthusiastic. By nighttime, if nothing's happened, no change is made, and I'm still in the same, stuck in whatever, then that's when you get depressed. Especially since I'm a morning person too anyway, so it's like doubly, twofolds. And so I said to these folks that, look, I've seen some extroverts, and I've worked with some extroverts, rarely, but because when I was in hiding from them, or was a cashier or something, I would go to a different cashier. I didn't want anyone to ask me any questions. I just get really, really, like I said, plus the being painfully shy, all of those things. And I said, but when I see these extroverts, they seem to be so happy, living in the moment, giggling and laughing. And yes, introverts, unfairly, folks, unfairly, we judge these people, we judge these extroverts, saying, look at them, they're like an inch deep, and they're you know what I mean. You've heard it all, you may have said it all. Certainly I was there with you for the longest time, and I don't want to have anything to do with these people. And then I hope these chickadees don't come in. I won't be able to get them out. And so I said, what I want to do now is to focus on being positive, focusing, living in the moment, focusing in, I was always thankful for even the smallest thing, but living in the moment is not the same as being thankful, not to me anyway. And that living in the moment is what? I'm taping this for you, and I'm not thinking about things like, will anyone watch this video? Will anyone watch any of my videos, not just on this particular subject? well, would anyone care? I don't care. I honestly don't care. And it's such a good place to be in. It's so peaceful, not caring. And I think this is what possibly, I may be wrong, but if I'm not, let me know. If you're an extrovert watching this, let me know. I don't think extroverts care that much about what if this and what if that. It's almost like, I think it's a Buddhist or Zen or Zen or something quote that says, worrying is like paying interest on a loan that you haven't taken out yet, or you haven't taken out. Either way makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying? And so what if that happens? Even let's just say, what if that happens? You can't be in a worse off position than you already are. So I said I suggested to my group, and I said, look, the reason why I want to have more positive thoughts and force myself to carve different neural pathways instead of not going purposely towards depression, going this other way to a more positive space, is because supposing that I think positively about something that hasn't happened as opposed to negatively about something that hasn't happened, and by thinking positively, that positive thing doesn't happen. Yeah? So I'm no worse off than before. So why not think positively? If you know something, if something is guaranteed, that's one thing. But if it's not guaranteed, even if there's a 50% chance that can go bad, it's wrong, and 50% that can go right, that's still 50%. And I now know that even something goes 50% wrong, it's not necessarily, if you can look at it, I'm not trying to be overly positive. I'm not. I'm a realist. If something goes wrong, as supposedly as some folks would think of it as, it means that you've learned something new from that particular direction that you went. So you've, at the worst possible case, and if it's gone wrong, right, we established that, still I've learned something. So what's the alternative to not thinking positive, or at the very least not thinking negative? It would be back to where I was, thinking all those horrible thoughts of nothing, this is not going to work out, and the world's going to end, and I'm not going to, all that stuff. So when I proposed when I pitched my argument to them, and they were mostly quiet and trying to take it in, because I don't want to say, I really don't want to say that introverts are more analytical or cerebral than extroverts. We're not. It's just that we've spent so much time, there's so many decades, such a big part of our lives doing that it's automatic. So they were quiet, contemplating, thinking about my proposal, trying to weigh it, trying to picture themselves doing it. And so I was very nervous because, again, I had founded this group and I was leaving it it was as if I was trying to crumble it from its foundation, and it didn't sound or seem right. And I'd formed a real friendship with these people, and because I was a stay-at-home dad too, and I didn't have anyone to talk to, so I finally gathered 75 or at least 10 people to talk to, and it was almost like it felt like I was rejecting them, thinking that, I did this, I'm dismantling this group. And I said, well, anyone else that wants it, they can lead it. I'm out. But I'm getting rid of my friends that I didn't have for so long, people that understood me. And so a week later or so, I emailed some people feeling very brave. and I said, I'm starting a new group, and I'm calling it Happy Thoughts. Boy, folks, let me tell you, the response I got, the reception I got is not what I was expecting. There were people younger than me, there were people my age, and there were people older than me. I would say that 100% of them crossed the floor or joined me. And they said, that's insane. We love it. Let's do it. Recognizing that we all wanted to be done with all of that negativity, not negativity, but just overthinking. How about that? Of all those years about life and everything. And now we were at a place that we wanted to be in a better place. We wanted to be happy. And so I went on to say, and this was really scary. Nobody joined me with this thing, this next part. And that was, I said, I'm going to actively look for extroverts so that I can tap into their energy, positive or overly positive or not justified or irrational exuberance, and see if I can harvest some of that energy and learn from it and be it. Nobody wanted to go that far. They weren't ready. I'm okay with that. But I was just amazed that they joined me in this new group. I haven't managed to do that because I'm still, like I said, I'm painfully shy. Those of you who don't know what painfully shy means is that in the 90s, there were people that were diagnosed diseases that the pharmaceuticals invent, disorders to sell their drugs, as socially, not inept, socially. I know you know, and I know you're yelling it at me now, but I can't hear you. Anyway, so they could sell. I'm amazed that I'm not on any and all of those drugs for the ADHD, the dyslexia, for not fitting in socially. Why isn't that word coming to me? The term social anxiety. That's a disease. No, it's a disorder. So you don't want to be in a group of people. But anyway, so I love now being around extroverts if I can find them. And the reason why I can't find them is because to find extroverts, I fear that you have to go to places where they hang out mostly. If it's not at their place of work, which would probably be somewhere where they would be the kind of work that they would thrive at, because they would thrive at any job, because founders of companies, not usually but most of the time, I'm generalizing, most of the time are folks just like people that have their PhDs. They have this idea, they want to do this thing, but they don't want to have to deal with anything else, like especially like PR, HR, any of those things, conflict resolution, any of that. They don't want to have. They can't deal with that. They don't want to have. They just started this company. They just want to. And no matter how successful a company, Bill Gates, no matter how successful a company, they don't want to be the front runner, the poster child with this thing. They want to just hide in the bushes. Like the guy that started TikTok is one such guy. Now you may not believe it. I don't have a TikTok account, but I listened to a podcast about him. And apparently he said he stepped down as the CEO because he said all he wants to do is sit in his room, in his apartment by himself, read, and have quiet time. Never wants to be in the limelight. So there you go. So no matter what line of work, extroverts thrive because they seem to be the cheerleaders. Really, I'm amazed at myself that I came up. They're the cheerleaders for any company, either their own or someone else's, and when the founders, presidents, CEOs see these people and say, brilliant, let them do it, they're good at it, perfect, this job's for you, and you get paid a lot of money, you go for it. And so I don't have access to such places, nor do I go to any clubs or bars or anything, and nor does anyone like that exist in the country or the rural. And this is why if I'm ever able to start my own community that I drafted 10 years ago, I would like to welcome everyone. I shouldn't say everyone. It will not be an all-inclusive place, but it will be an all-inclusive place to all who are respectful, who are grateful, who are non-imposing, and their views and whatever to other people. Yeah, but when I said everyone's welcome, if you're a hunter, you're welcome. If you're an extrovert, you're welcome. That kind of thing. So, but smokers, alcoholics, people that have maybe by choice anyway, addictions. We're trying to keep a holistic, clean approach to life. Go get cleaned up, kick the habits, whatever, and then come back. You do your anger management, whatever it is, and then come back. Then you're welcome. But I don't want something like that. But if someone's a hunter, it doesn't mean that they're aggressive or they're an aggressor. If those times that people talk about, especially now around the election day, around the globe, come hard times, there's only so much vegetables and foraging anyone can eat. Somebody has to kill something, process it, any of that stuff. And if it's not going to be me, if I am not able to do it, then someone else has to. Now, just as much as I can't do any killing, I also don't have the desire to do any conflict resolution. But there might be people there. I know there are people that love that kind of thing, just love it, and they're very good at it. Let them do the conflict resolution. So just to bring this back, introverts and extroverts, we need to recognize one another's strengths, and whatever we lack is what they can complete for us, and whatever they lack we can complete for them. And together, if we unite, really honestly, we can do a lot instead of division. When it comes to anything, you say those introverts or whatever, or those extroverts or whatever, I don't understand them, I don't want to have anything to do with them. They're however you whatever you call them, or however you picture them to be. I think we need one another. Like I said at the beginning, let me know if you're an introvert or extrovert. I am really curious as to how many extroverts are watching these videos, because, like I said, they're very slow paced. As you can see, there are no ads, there's no flash, there's no music in the background. It's just, listen, me and the forest, And it can seem boring, but I think even extroverts can burn out, and we'll probably need to, have some peace and quiet once in a while to recharge. Maybe not. Maybe obviously not as often as an introvert would, but I think extroverts also need their quiet time. Anyway, thanks for joining me on my throne today. Any topics you want me to talk about? Get a different perspective, let me know. And today is the first day of November, so from here on it's gonna get cool, and I won't be able to use this space, I don't think, or at least not. So I need to be dressed much warmer. Maybe have my gloves and my hood on. But this is a happy space for me to be in. It feels very, surrounded by the forest, by all these windows, flooding light. And today's warm, it's 15 degrees. So it's like 15 degrees Celsius warmer than it should be at this time of year, would be. That's all for now.